Hi, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, I'm Patricia, a Nigerian women's wear designer based here in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thank you for stopping by. Today's video is on how to encase your Rigilene bone or polyester bone using your toe, mesh or nets. So if this is what interests you, ensure to stay to the end so you can follow the step-by-step process in making this. These are the materials I'll be using for this. This is the toe I have for this, and the mesh actually stretch in one direction, like it's more stretchy in one direction, and it's actually my skin color mesh. And this is just what I'll be using for it. It stretches horizontally, and that will be the way I'll place it while cutting it. And this is just the way it stretches, so there is more stretch on one side compared to the other side. This is my measuring tape for it, and this is a transparent thread. You can call it transparent or invisible thread. So this is what you can either use this particular thread for this, or you can use the normal thread. I got a color that can match with the mesh I'm using, so this is just it. It's a brown color thread. So this is my scissors, and this is my check for it. This is also the Rigilene bone or polyester boning that I'll be using for this particular project. So I went ahead to just to bring it out so that you can see it properly, just to know that this is the sewable bone that I'm going to use for this project. So this is the sewable bone I'll be using for it. Actually, I got the size for 12 mm. So I got size 12 mm. There are different sizes for this. There is size 10, size 14 or thereabouts. So this is the size I'll be using for this particular project, and this is just the materials I need for this. So let's get down into this tutorial properly. So I went ahead to iron the tool, and I'm going to fold it into 4. This is just the way I folded it into 4, in a way that it stretches horizontally. And I'm going to mark 17 inches, which is the length of the Rigilene bone I need for this particular dress. And I'll mark 17 inches for the upper bodice. This is just the way I'll mark it down and make it in a straight line. So you can use the desired length for this particular side. So you can use 18 inches depending on where you want to actually put this Rigilene or polyester boning. So this is just the way I'm making it in a horizontal line. And after this, I'll go ahead now to cut it out. After cutting it out, I will trim out the other edge, just make it in a straight, in a straight line or in a straight form. So after cutting it and making it in a straight form now, this is just the way I am doing it right now. So after this now, I'll go ahead now to mark 1.5 inches, that's 1.5 inches, and make it in a straight line. I'll mark it on this end and the other end, so I'll join it to make it in a straight line. So I use 1.5 inches, which would be enough for me to wrap the plastic bone inside. So I will also cut 1.5 inch, just marking 1.5 inch all through, and making it in a straight line, just the way I am doing right now. So I'll go ahead now to mark 1.5 inches all through the other end and make it in a straight line. When I was done doing that, I'll go ahead now to, just to arrange it very well and then cut it out. I'll cut out every line that I marked on this, and I'll cut it out, ensuring that everything is laying together like it's equal. So I'll cut it out this way, and then I'll show you what it looks like. When I got to the end, I had to just open up that closed part. You know, the other end was closed. So I open up that closed part just the way I am doing right now. And after this now, this is just the way it looks. So remember we folded this into four before cutting it out, and this gives four pieces. This is just four pieces in one. You can decide to use these four pieces and wrap your regling bone, or you can also make it into 6 pieces. Maximum 4 to 6 pieces is okay for you to use and wrap your regling bone. And this is just all the pieces that I cut out for this particular project. So I will, you know, keep it aside now and then work on just one regling bone wrap. So I'm going to use 6 pieces for this particular project, and this one here is already 4, and I'm just bringing out 2 pieces from this other one to add it up with the 4 that we already have. So this makes it 6 pieces in one. So this is just it now, and I'm going to arrange it very well in a way that everything is just equal and they align with each other. So this is just the way I'm doing it, and after aligning everything and making sure that they are all matching on top of each other, just the way I'm trying to do right now. After I'm ensuring that everything aligns, I'll stitch it around that area, and that is just it. So I'm going to hold it now with my pin before going down to my sewing machine to stitch it. I'll hold it down with this pin so that it won't shake, or you know, try to adjust from where I initially placed it. I'll stitch it down there just that way, and this is the outcome when I was done stitching it. And I used the transparent or the invisible thread to stitch it just this way. So you can decide to use the other thread as well. I'll use the other thread while in this video. I went ahead to also iron my regling bone flat, so it will be easier for me to sew. So I ironed the regling bone flat, and it measures 15.5 inches. So I removed the allowance for the upper side and the downside of this dress. So I'll place it at that tip and sew along that area, and this is just where I'm going to sew. After making sure it's close to the tip, I'll go over to my sewing machine now to stitch it, and this is just it. I'm going to place it at that end, just making sure that everything is equal at that end. I'll place it giving out 0.75 inches allowance at the tip before sewing alongside there. So I'm going to sew it at that side, the other side of it, and I'll sew along there using a straight stitch. I'll stitch it straight down to the other end just the way I am doing now. So after stitching it, I'm making sure that everything aligns, and this is just the way it looks when I was done stitching it. So this is just it. So now I'll go over to stitch it at the other end just to hold down the toe together. So I'll stitch it there in using a straight stitch. So while I was done stitching it, I'll go over to press it down, and this is just the way it looks when I was done pressing it. I ironed it very well using a steam iron at low temperature. So I'm going to trim off that end, you know, just the excess allowance I had there when I was done stitching it. I'll trim it off, and then we'll continue for this project. So while I was done trimming it off, I'm going to wrap the regling bone. I'll wrap it 1 and wrap it again 2, which is twice, just wrapping it twice. and this is just the way I wrapped it. So just make yours very neat so that it can, turn out well. So I wrapped it twice, and I'll go ahead now to sew at that other end, like the last part of the wrapping. So I will sew it there neatly. You can decide to turn it over to the front and sew it instead of sewing from the wrong side. So but for this one, I sewed from the wrong side, then before turning to the right side to see how it looks like. So I'm trying to arrange it and make sure that the raglan bone is fitted inside, like there is no gaping around it. So I'll stitch it down just this way I am doing now, while also adjusting the raglan bone and the toe at the same time. I'll stitch it using a straight stitch. If this video has been helpful to you so far, I would appreciate if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. This helps the video to get to more people. Subscribe if you haven't already, click notification bell so you won't miss out any of my videos in time to come. Leave a comment below for any question, suggestion or contribution. You can also share the video. And thank you so much for your love, support and encouragement. It means a lot to me. So when I was done stitching it and making sure that I cut out the threads, I'll trim off the excess that I have, those rough edges. I'll trim off the excess around the rough edges, and this is the way I'm trimming it off carefully. That side is going to be on the inside, so I just need to trim it off so that it will show when I'm sewing it on the right side. So after trimming it off and making sure everything is looking all neat and very well trimmed, I'll go ahead now to sew it on the other side. So when I was done sewing it on the other side, I'll cut out the threads, and this is just everything that we've been working on. I'll just trim off the threads around it and make sure everything is looking neat, and this is just everything we've been working on so far. While sewing to the dress or to your fabric, you can top stitch very close to the thread that you already have. So you top stitch very close to the thread, to the initial thread you already have, just to give it a neat finishing. This is the allowance I gave for the upper part and for the down part as well. So this is just everything we worked on. So if you have any method that you use in encasing your bone using tool, mesh or net, let us know in the comment section. And if you have any contribution, suggestion, let me also know in the comment section. Until next time, see you, bye.